It was okay. I don't think the boys season finale was terrible. I don't think it was great. I think the season itself was not that great. It was very disappointing. Uh, I felt that a lot of times that there were certain episodes where we are just wasting our time. Spoilers for season 5 of The Boys and everything about The Boys, basically. The finale was mediocre, but at the same time, it feels a little disrespectful to say that because I thought it was fine at the way it ended. I don't. A lot of our characters they ended off having a happy ending. Butcher does die, Homelander does die, and we see an incredibly funny scene of Homelander begging for his life. That's just I would have never expected something like that, and incredible, funny as hell. So glad we have something like that. But it it's just the season 5 as a whole. What are they doing? What was going on? Why are the boys just going on? I get that the whole we needed to have some sort of like new thing for the boys to try to kill Homelander, and the V1 is supposed to be the one to, you know, uh, they need to get it so Homelander doesn't get it, and that sure that's fine, but after that, like what is the plan there? You know, you get the V1 and then you make, I don't know, like Annie or like Kimiko immortal, and then they release the virus, but after that, like what's the plan? The plans that they had throughout the whole season just sounded so dumb. It made no sense. Where and Homelander could have easily just looked for uh someone, just like the same way that the boys were able to find some people that were connected to the V1. You tell me Homelander could not find that? And Sage obviously like could have recreated it or whatever, and obviously we know that she didn't because she wanted to just die off at a bunker and read all her books and whatever. Sure, but Sage is also a very weird character where she just does nothing. She's supposed to be the smartest character in the show and she does nothing. All she does is just mope and whine, and then the Kamiko episode where they are trying to radiate Kamiko so she has the same energy as Soldier Boy, the radiation blaster Soldier Boy. That's cool and all, but it could like Sister Sage like shows up at the very like last 30 seconds of whatever trial run that they did. Nothing changed. That they did was have Sister Sage just there and be next to Frenchie while they're doing the experiment. Nothing changed. Excuse me. And then of Gen V, what the heck was going on with Gen V? Like the characters from Gen V, Marie, like and her friends were there for like a second and then they just dip. Like what's going on? I feel like maybe they just couldn't get a lot of the characters in Gen V, so it would also make it too messy and lose focus on what the boys were. And I guess I kind of understand that, but then you have so much incredible potential with the Gen V characters. You even hype up Marie to be as strong as Homelander, and we see it happen in season 2. We know she's not. She's most likely like not as close to being strong as like Homelander or something, but we see that she could potentially help with like the virus or like getting rid of the not the virus, the getting rid of the V1 in the blood and all that. And we see that's possible. She can nearly revive people as well. We see all these things, and that could have been another solution, but we keep having, you know, Starlight telling Marie, being like, "Oh no, you guys got to be safe. You guys have to like, do the smaller fights." But it would have been nice also if we see something else. Maybe like see some of their fights or see something of what the Gen V characters are doing. We just see nothing. All they do is just they appear, they're in hiding, and then they're just gone. And it's not even they just serve no purpose besides just a quick cameo of a hello, we're here, we're alive, and then we are now dipping and we gotta go. What is up with that? It just why even show them at that point? It's just a waste of everyone's time. Like the screen time is just I was a little upset with the Gen V characters. Me personally, because I actually did really like season 1 and season 2 of Gen V. I thought it was really entertaining. It really, I know some people on like TikTok and social media don't really like Gen V for some reason. I get it. I think there's some weirdness of like why some people might not like Gen V, but I think it's really entertaining. I think it's a really good show for season 1 and season 2. I believe they axed the show now, so there's no season 3 coming out for Gen V. Which, I mean, it makes sense because what else are you really going to talk about now? Now that like Homelander's gone, like the biggest threat is gone and whatnot, and that makes sense. But what was this season, man? This season was very just disappointing. I think, I'm looking more forward to what else they can bring out, but it's also disappointing because they're setting up VOD Rising, which is supposed to be some form of like a sequel or something with Soldier Boy or whatever that's supposed to be. Maybe it'll be like a sequel, a prequel. Apologize. Maybe it's supposed to be like a you see some stuff in the past and then you go back to the present and see what's going on or whatever. But it's I don't know how entertaining that'll be because also we know that Soldier Boy is a terrible person in his past life, in his earlier days. So will that be fun to see? I'm not too sure. And just see him just wreak havoc to everybody. It just, you killed off a show to set up another show, and I don't think that's really smart of them to do when the finale was supposed to be really, really incredible. I honestly think the fights and the finale should have been a lot better. The Starlight and the Deep fight was very entertaining because of how dumb it ended, with how the Deep just ends up in the water in the most ironic way. He just dies, which canonically makes no sense at all, because why would Starlight send the Deep to the beach when she should know that he's strongest by water? I feel like it should have been maybe something along the lines of Starlight picks up the Deep in that like little when she lifted off from the White House and they're fighting and then they're tussling and then maybe like the Deep falls or something and then he like accidentally falls into the water and then they could have just done it like quick as that. I don't see a world where like that fight is actually supposed to go like really long. It doesn't really feel like it should. The Allfather one was just dumb. I think they just wanted to do something dumb and have a character just die from a ball gag. But the Homelander fight, it was good. It was good for a bit, but same case. I wish it was longer, and there were just so many things that just don't make sense during that fight. I noticed that I saw a video of Moist Critical where he talked about how Kimiko just bodied a laser from Homelander. Now, I understand that Kimiko had that radiation buff or whatever it is, so maybe she got stronger from that. Who knows? That could be possible, because it could be one of those things where it's like, if what doesn't kill you make you stronger, kind of like the Zenkai boost kind of thing in Dragon Ball, where like in a near death state, if they conquer it, they become stronger than what they were previously. That could be what Kimiko has, but it also never is explained in the show. And on top of that, Homelander has the V1. He's supposed to be very strong. He's really fast, and we see that happen where he just kills off that celebrity or rich person. I forget the character, but in like 2 seconds, goes to space and comes back down. We know he's really strong and really fast. We didn't have the Scorched Earth. We unfortunately didn't have that, but we did have Homelander begging to Butcher to spare his life, and I think at least we get to have that. The whole little tussle with Butcher and Huey having their little tussle of at the top of Vought Tower, and their little fight there was pretty nice. And till the very end, we know that Butcher wanted to set off the virus, and we knew he was going to do it, but we know that he wanted to be stopped. We know that he wanted Huey to be the one to stop him, and he knew Huey is the only person that could possibly stop him because of his similarities to Lenny. And I think that's fine. I think that's a fine ending. Huey ends up happy. He's with Starlight. MM is happy. Kimiko's happy. Ryan even ends up happy with MM, which is really, really cool. I would have never expected that they were supposed to be together. Like, we actually never see anything of like Ryan and MM being in many scenes together. Not that I recall, but it's kind of poetic in a way where he is with the, his Soldier Boy's grandson, and it's kind of poetic in a way where MM is able to overcome his own struggles to adopt, or from what we know, adopt Ryan. Kimiko just kind of doing her own thing is really interesting, and really nice to see. At the end of the day, I will miss the boys. I do think the 5 seasons that they were showing off in the beginning, very entertaining. There's really no other show like this. It will be missed. Do I wish that the final season was a little bit better? 100%. But at the end of the day, it kind of roughly stuck the landing. I think it could have been a little bit better. I don't think it was like Stranger Things bad. I don't think it was Game of Thrones bad from what people are saying. I will also say, quick take, I have never watched Game of Thrones, so I don't know how terrible of ending that is, but I do know Game of Thrones was a pretty bad ending. But at the end of the day, I think it was an okay ending for an okay show. And I will definitely miss the boys, and I will now mention also, damn, I don't even know. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, besides that, peace, guys. Have a great rest of your guys' day/night from whenever you guys are watching this. Bye.